welcome back to my channel. In today's video, I will be showing you how to prep your nail practice hand, and this will also work for a nail trainer if you have one of those. Along with that, I will also be showing you how to apply the tips. I will show you how to do forms in a later video, but I have learned that with these forms don't really work out as well. I have tried to use forms on them because I prefer sculpting on my own hands, but they don't fit right because of the nails being so wide and hard, and it doesn't really make for a nice shape, and you have literally no C curve whatsoever. For this video, what you will need is you'll need some files. You can use the normal Dollar General emery board files. You can use them on these. I don't recommend using them on your actual hands because, I mean, I don't know what the difference is between this and this. Looking at it, you don't think it would really be the same, but it is, honestly. This is basically just sandpaper on top of a thin piece of cardboard. So you can use this for this. I'm not. I prefer using, the gray files. They're also known as like the zebra files, but that's what I will be using. You will also need a buffing block. It doesn't matter if you have a white one or you have this one. Either will work. If you don't like to use buffing blocks, you can use an E-file. I recommend a sanding band, very fine grit. You can use ceramic bits and metal bits and stuff, but it tears it up a lot, and it's not easy on your band. Your bit. Sorry, y'all. So I prefer just using this, but I will be showing you both just in case, you prefer one or the other. You will also need some rubbing alcohol and some cotton balls. You can also use lint-free wipes. You can use, alcohol wipes. If you prefer gel cleanser, you can use gel cleanser. It doesn't really matter. All we're going to be doing is just removing excess dust that you don't want to leave on your nails. You will also need some nail glue, and you'll need tips of your choice. I just use cheap ones I got off eBay, but you can use whatever you like, whatever you wish. It's what works for you. I'm just showing you guys how I do things. The first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to take a normal pair of cutters. I find that these work better than the actual nail clippers on these hands. For some reason, the nail clippers don't really like to cut through them much, so I will be using these. I do have the tips on here that came with the hand, and then I have actual nail trainer tips as well, just so I can show you both and show you that, this works with both. I know that the nail trainer tips will work in this hand. I don't know if it's vice versa, but as for this hand, it will. I personally like these tips better because you can get them in a variety of shapes and sizes, and you can't really get that with these. There's some bigger ones and some smaller ones, but they're pretty much the same awkward long shape. Alright, now what I'm going to do is I'm going to start trimming the nail down to a desired length. You don't have to do this. I just prefer to do this. That way it looks a little more natural when I'm gluing the tips on. These tips right here are a very bendable type of plastic. They're very strong. They don't break easy. So, you do kind of have to just work with it a little bit. Some of you might like that it's a little more pliable, but you know, as of me, I really don't. All right, just pull that off there. And then in with the second one. Start at one side. Now, if you're having problems cutting these like I am, I find that if you just take the very end of this and you go towards the corner of it, just a little bit at a time, and it will snap like that. It is a lot easier to get it to snap like that than it is just throwing the whole thing, you know, over the nail and trying to cut it. Trim this one up a little. I'm going to go ahead and leave this one since it's short, but I will trim the thumb to show you. These ones cut a lot easier. They are a harder plastic than the ones that come with the nail practice hand. That's why I said I prefer these better. They're just a better quality. You don't have to, it's just what I prefer. Alright, the next thing we are going to do is we're going to take our file. We're going to kind of round out all of this, get rid of all those sharp edges that you made. That way it fits into the form a lot easier. And being that this is a softer plastic, you got to kind of work with it a little more. It's not the easiest, but it will file. I'm just filing this one and just make it a tad bit shorter. You know, I didn't need the clippers for this one. And I will say that these tips do file a lot easier than the other ones. Like I said, they're just a harder plastic. They're made better. You know, they're made better. They got a lot of different shapes. You know, they have the short bitten kind. They have, you know, the longer ones. They have the off-shaped ones. And all of the tips, even the ones for the knockoff brand, have the cuticle area. And I like that. You know, I struggle with cuticle prep every time I do my nails. And it's one of the things I'm working on, but I'm getting better. Alright, the next thing you're going to do is you're going to take your buffing block. And what you want to do is you just want to remove all of that shine off the nail. You don't want any shine on it. Now the reason for this is you want to kind of give your acrylic or your gel or acrogel, whatever you choose to work with, you just want to give it something that it can grab onto and it'll stick a lot easier. So once you remove all your shine, you know, you're done with it. That's all you need to do. Move on to the next nail. Now, since these tips are a darker color, the scrapes on it show up more. And it is harder to get up into the cuticle area with the buffing block. And that is a downside to the buffing block versus, you know, the sanding band. But the sanding bands with the E-file, it doesn't feel right when you're using it on this. It has a lot of resistance and doesn't really like to move around as well as it does on an acrylic nail or your natural nail. Like I said, just make sure you get up into that cuticle area. You don't want any shine. Once you get all the shine off, move to the next finger. You guys see that fairly well? All right. Now, next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to go to my e-file. You know, it doesn't matter what brand you use. It's an e-file. This one I got for $11 off eBay, and I'm looking into new ones. I hate this one. The band likes to slip out. Like if I'm actually really going at it with my nails, it comes out. All right. Now you want to make sure you get up into the cuticle area. You want to get all of that. And then I just find it easier to go back and forth across the nail. You get the sides. And it's that easy. That one's done. Alright, now again, what I like to do is I like to go up into the cuticle area first, just so I know I got that, it's out of the way and done. And then I just go back and forth across the nail until all of the shine's gone. Alright, and that's it for the buffing. Now what you're going to do next is you're going to take your cotton ball. You can use lint-free pads, but every lint-free pad that I have found that has said it's supposed to be lint-free hasn't been. And I just don't like paying extra for something that, you know, does what it's not supposed to do. And then you just want to take this over the nail. Make sure you get all that extra dust off there. Now, if you are using a cotton ball, you will need to make sure you remove all the excess lint that drops down on there. Let me get a new cotton ball. You don't want to leave anything on the nail that isn't supposed to be on the nail. Now the cotton ball will leave a good bit. The best thing to just do is as you see it, just take it off there. That way it doesn't build up, it's gone, you know, and you won't have to fuss with it as much. You see, I have no cotton on the nails. There's extra plastic right there though. I have no cotton on the nails and no fuss. So there's that, you guys. Let me pull it closer so you can see. See, that's what you want to do. You just want to remove that shine and buff up the top of it. Simple as that. Alright, now the next thing I'm going to show you guys how to do is to apply the tips. I know from previous trial and error, you know, the size of the tips that I need. Every size is going to be different. You know, if you're sitting in front of your phone or computer right now with your hand, I can almost guarantee we don't have the same kind of nails. You know, if we do, cool deal. But I doubt we do. You want to make sure the nail fits. If you have, see, these are one size apart from each other. I got a 4. And then I have a 3. All right. See, with the middle finger, you see how the 4, you got to push it down to get it to fit. You don't want to do that. You don't want to have to push it so hard you flatten it out, because that nail will now be prone to lift and it'll just keep lifting until it pops off. So you don't want to do that with your tips. And then this one is just a little too big. So what you'll want to do is you'll want to file the sides down a little bit. Just do a little at a time. See, just take it, file down that side, file down this side, and then it fits perfectly. Now what I like to do, you don't have to do this, but I learned to do this when I was putting tips on my own hands. I find it easier to, scrape up this part, thin it out. That way, once you put it on your nail, it'll actually be flush with the nail. You won't have to worry about filing too much off your real nail trying to get this flush. So basically, all that I do is at a slight angle, I file it down. That way you won't have that harsh bump right there, and you won't have to file your nails to try to get it flush. Now, you want to file this as thin as you can get it, but not so thin that it's falling apart. And then I always have problems getting these side pieces to stick. So what I do is I just file them down. All right, and this nail is the middle. All right, now I want to take my glue. All right, it's right here. I use the Kiss Maximum Speed Nail Glue. It dries in just a couple seconds. You can use any kind of glue you want. I just prefer nail glue. Now, when I was younger and I used to put on press-on nails and stuff, I used to use like actual super glue on my nails, and I realized it wasn't healthy at all. So that's when I kind of realized, hey, nail glue is nail glue for a reason. And all you want to do is just put a little drop on it, move it around, then you'll take it. I put the bottom up first like this, and then I push down towards the top. That way if there's any extras, it will leak out towards the top of the nail versus the bottom of the nail and creating a sticky mess between your nail and your finger. Now, I don't know if you guys have ever done that before, but when I was using super glue and I was playing with press-on nails, I actually used to get the bottom of my nail right here, like stuck up right there, and I'd have to pull it down, and I was just fascinated with it for some reason. I was young, I didn't care that it was actually causing harm to myself. It was just cool. I don't know, kind of like how some people like the glue on your hands and peel it off. Alright, now I'm going to do the pointer finger next, the index finger, and you see it's just a little too big. So what I'm going to do is file both sides. Now it's best to just do a little at a time. You don't want to take too much off and then have to go get a new piece. Having to take off little bits at a time is better than starting over. So, still a little big. So again, just file the side. File the other side. And that seems to fit fine. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to file the top a little bit, so when it goes on the nail, it'll be flush with the nail. And then I'm going to go with the corners. Just get rid of those while I'm at it. These tips that I have, the corners do not like to stay down at all. and it'll get very frustrating. And then, you know, if you try to glue them down afterwards, you'll have a big mess on your fingers. And, you know, it's easier to just file them off and not worry about it. All right, again, just a tiny drop of glue. You know, that's saying a little dot does a lot. And then just move it around. Make sure I didn't file any dust on it. All right, work from the bottom up. And then if you see a spot that isn't wanting to sit down, you can take your other finger and kind of just hold your thumb over top of it to assure that all of it will stay down and you won't have to try to go in there with glue later and, you know, make a mess with everything. All right, I'll go ahead and show you guys the pinky finger with the nail trainer tips. You want to check the size first. And the size is just a tiny bit big, so again, you want to file it down a little at a time. Now the reason I'm doing the videos with the off-brand of the nail trainer is because when I were to look up this hand on YouTube, there wasn't really much of anything on it, or at least I was having problems finding it. There wasn't any prep videos or anything for this hand. Now the nail trainer had some. See, that fits perfect, so I'm gonna file the top. But the nail trainer had some. You know, nobody really focused on it very much. I guess the silicone hands are all the rage right now, and I can't afford to spend, you know, $200-300 on a nail, well, a practice hand that I may or may not like. That's just unrealistic. I would love to try it, but, you know, as far as me spending $200 on something that I have never seen in person, it's just not going to happen. You know, I am very conservative with my money. I mean, I do like to splurge a lot, but there are boundaries and limits, and a hand is not one of those ones that I will break the boundaries for. All right. Now, again, bottom up to the top. Hold it for just a couple seconds. And there you go. There's a tip on that hand. All right. Now, if you guys have any questions or comments, you know, you can leave a comment down below and I will do my best to answer you as soon as I see it. I will have more videos involving this hand with shaping and filing and things like that, and then I will be doing nail art on them. So if you're interested in seeing more, please be sure to like, comment, and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye.